Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Leslie with the New Mexico Small Business Development Center, and we've got a great one today. We have Eric Spellman that's going to give us a webinar today on profiting from social media with an emphasis. He's making it general, but he's going to emphasize, I believe, some of the top sites. So we're excited that everyone's here today. If you have any questions, please type it into the Q&A. We will pick up those questions and we will answer it throughout the webinar. So Eric, take it away.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Leslie. Okay, so here we go. We have a lot to cover today, and I mean a lot, so get ready. If you haven't been to one of my presentations, let me just warn you, there's a lot of content. I mean, some people say listening to me is like drinking from a fire hydrant. So get your notes ready. Now, to that end, don't feel like you have to write down everything you see on my slides, because guess what? My wonderful hosts are going to be making those available to you, all the slides in this presentation. So don't feel like you have to write those down, but do write down how you see this might help you specifically, ideas it gives you specific for your business. So let's just begin. What we're going to be talking about is social media. This is a big one. This is one of my favorite talks to talk about. One of my favorite topics is social media, because if businesses use it correctly, you can see an amazing amount of profit. But notice I said the word correctly. So let's jump into that, because I guarantee you by the end of this, you'll definitely be well on your way to seeing success with social media. But let's back up a little, because there may be some of you out there, some few of you maybe, that still wonder, what's the point? Should I even use social media for my business? I mean, seriously, is that even worth it, or is it a waste of my time? Will I make money, or am I just wasting my time? Well, there's a lot of reason to use social media. You got to remember, retention requires rebranding. In other words, we want that top of mind awareness. We want people thinking about us. And in order to do that, we have to go where they are. And people are on social media. So reminding them who we are on a regular basis helps when they finally get to that point, that decision-making point where they need a vendor and they need you. And they're going to remember you. Why? Because you rebranded. So keep that in mind. Retention of who you are in your company requires constant rebranding. Never, ever let them forget you. Because if they forget you, guess what happens? They just start Googling for vendors, and whoever comes up first probably get the deal. See, you've got to beat that. You don't want them in a situation going, now who does that? No, you don't want that at all. You want them thinking, oh, I know who does that. That's what social media is about for business. Keep in mind that our true goal here is interaction. Our true goal here is interaction. That's what social media is about. And let me explain it to you this way. You know, a lot of people, they come up to me or they email me and they say, hey, Eric, would you go look at our social media feed? Would you go look at our company's social media and tell us if we're doing it right? I get that all the time. I really do. And usually I can go to their page and look at it, and I'll give it a good 3 seconds. And I can tell them whether they're doing it right or doing it wrong. Now, the question is, what in the world am I using to measure their success or failure? What am I looking at? What am I spotting in 3 seconds? Well, some people would say, oh, he's counting the number of likes on the post. You know, how many people liked it? That's obviously if they're doing well, if there's a bunch of likes. Or, oh, I see what he's doing. He's looking at he's looking at the posts themselves and how they're written and all. Here's the deal. You want to know whether you're doing social media right? It's very simple. Count the number of comments on your post. That's it. But Eric, what about likes? What about shares? What about? No. If you want to know whether you're doing social media right, you count the number of comments you get. Because here's the deal. Your focus is comments. Your focus is what? Interaction. Interaction means talking back and forth. Too many businesses use social media as a one-way bullhorn. They'll say something like, hey, we're having a sale today. And then they'll cut it off and not even look at it again until tomorrow. No, true social media success for business is interactive, is you interacting with people in social media. Now, I'm not saying this takes all day. In fact, a lot of people who've learned what I've tried to teach them, they can pretty much get done what they need to get done in about maybe 10 minutes a day for their business. Your goal is comments. Whenever you do a social media post for your company, you are going to measure your success or failure by the number of comments you receive. The goal is interaction. What you want. See, the reason I say that is likes are lazy. Yeah, likes are lazy. Think about it. You're on your phone, you're scrolling up, and all of a sudden, people are just scrolling, they're scrolling. Now you see them scrolling, they're skipping a lot of people. Why are they skipping them? We're about to talk about that. But they're just keep going, and all of a sudden they stop. What you want them to do is stop. What you want them to do is read your post. What you want them to do is like your post, but more importantly, what you want them to do is comment. Why? Because likes are lazy. A lot of us will like some of our friends' stuff just because they're our friends, and it's our way of saying good job. And we'll keep going. We don't think about it. We don't give it any time in our mind. We almost like it out of politeness without thinking about what they wrote, or maybe even reading what they wrote. Are you guilty of that? I know I've done it. Where I refuse to read their big, long, mile-long thing, but, I support them. So, what I'm saying is you need to encourage people to comment, because here's the deal. People will not comment on your social media posts just because you ask them to, and they won't comment just because, especially on a business page. A lot of times it's because they believe that posting, it's almost like graffiti. Like that business page belongs to that company, and they don't want to write on it because they don't have the right to, or they don't know what to say, or they're worried it's going to get seen by a million people. You're going to have to draw out those comments, and I'm going to be showing you how. So the key to social media is interaction. Stop using social media to advertise. Stop using it to simply say we're having a sale today, or come by today, or that. Stop. Like I said earlier, your goal is to achieve top of mind awareness. You want people to remember who you are and connect it to what you do. And whenever they need what you do, you want them to remember who you are. Promote your expertise. Stop advertising and promote your expertise. Show you're an expert. And I've told you this before. People would rather do business with an expert than a salesman. Stop trying to sell me what you have and start showing me your expertise. If you're an artist, I want to see it. I want to see you in action. I love artistry. If you are a vendor who sells a service, I want to see you talking about it. I want to see you giving me advice. I'm just telling you, I want to see your expertise, not your salesmanship. Generate viral content. And we talked about that last time, about how to go viral. Give content that actually people want to share, that people want to share with their friends, because you're reaching a whole new group. Now, once again, you're saying, well, Eric, you just talked about shares and you said likes and shares aren't really what you're looking for. That's true. The primary is comments, but you'll get a lot more comments if your friends are sharing your stuff. So who are the players in the social media marketplace? There are quite a few, but the big one, of course, is Facebook. And we're going to be talking about each one of these. Facebook is huge, and chances are it will be one of the places that your business should be. Instagram, also big, also owned by Facebook, and definitely a place to be. But there are some reasons why you might not want to be, or reasons that you'd better be. We'll talk about Instagram. Twitter. You'll see what I have to say about Twitter. I've made money from Twitter. In fact, I think I told you that story last time. So as long as you understand how Twitter works, there's some things you can do. LinkedIn, another great way to make money, another great revenue source, but you got to understand who does well with LinkedIn and who doesn't. Pinterest, still one of my favorites, especially for those of you who create artsy or craftsy type of things. It is one of the best places. But before you start posting on Pinterest, you got to know the big difference between it and Instagram. So let's get started. Let's first talk about Instagram, because it's the one I get questions on the most. Instagram is all about photos. It's all about photos. It's all about photos. And I'll be honest, it's pretty much for the under 30 crowd. The way to think about it is this. When Facebook came out, everyone was on Facebook. Kids were on Facebook. In fact, the first people on Facebook were kids, young people. Old people didn't go to Facebook right away. The older you are, the longer it took for you to get on Facebook. But younger people got on it really quick and they loved it because they could connect with friends, they could share with friends, and they could just be themselves. But here's the deal, something happened. The easiest way to explain it is to let me just tell you a story. So let's say that you and I are we are only two friends on Facebook. You're my friend, I'm your friend. That's it. We just joined Facebook. We're the only two people in each other's circle, so to speak. So I'm typing, hey, having a great day, doing this, doing that. And you said, oh yeah, that's funny. I had this happen today, blah, blah, blah. So we're having a great time on Facebook. All of a sudden, I get a request from my mom to accept her as a friend on Facebook. Now, what are you going to do when your mom requests to be your friend? Well, you're probably going to say yes. But the problem with doing that is this. All of a sudden, your conversation with your friend changes. Everything you're doing in the Facebook arena changes because, your mom is now watching. And so it changes who you are. Now, I want you to take this further through to kids, because I am one of those few people who will tell you that not everyone should be your friend on Facebook. And I'm one of the few people that will tell you, I do not believe that if you're an adult that you should be friending kids. And if you're a kid, I don't think you have to friend your parents. And there's reasons for all of that. Trust me. Trust me. I've talked to many PTAs about this. The reason you don't want to friend across generational lines is because, number one, they're not your friends anyway. They're not your friends. Your friends are your friends. Those are your family. Those are acquaintances, strangers. Those are people, but they're not your close friends. And what we've discovered is that when you accept everyone as a friend, the more friends you have on Facebook, the less you post. Can I just say that? The more friends you have on Facebook, the less you post, because you're all of a sudden thinking, and that's Facebook. You're all of a sudden thinking, oh my gosh, I can't post that because my mom will see it. So you don't post as much. So what happened was, you're saying, where are you getting with this, Eric? We're talking about Instagram. So what ended up happening is all the young people, when their parents and grandparents joined Facebook, all the young people left Facebook because they could no longer be young anymore. They could no longer talk about what they wanted because they were being watched by their peers, not by their peers, by their parents and their grandparents. So they went and joined Instagram and they quit Facebook. So all that was left in Facebook was who? Their parents. So they went to Instagram, and now they can be friends with their friends and everything's good again, except parents are now moving to Instagram too. So where are the kids going to go next? Who knows? A lot of people are watching, and maybe TikTok, maybe some of the others, but young people will always lead the crowd. You need to understand this kind of migration, a societal migration that takes place. As kids attempt to migrate away from their parents so they can have their own independence, it creates a huge shift in social media. So that's why I say Instagram is primarily under 30, but we're seeing that expand. Instagram is all about visual, all about pictures. So if your business lends itself to visual, like if you pretty much Instagram from a business standpoint is good for fashion, food, architecture, makeup, art, things like that. Anything that's visual will do very well in Instagram if it's going after a younger audience. And that's the key. I would definitely put that in there. If you're targeting an older audience, Instagram is probably not the best place for you. Instagram has hashtags, which you'll remember from last week, is how you describe things, is how you talk about things, okay? And it does them very well, and it makes searching very easy. I'm going to be having one coming up on hashtag marketing, where I go into great detail how you can use hashtags to draw a heck of a lot more attention to your products and services. Memes are another great thing you'll find on Instagram. Now, for those of you who don't know, a meme is simply a picture that is a joke, a picture that is a cartoon, a picture that tells a story. It's usually contrived, put together, but it's meant to make you laugh or educate you maybe a little, or make a political statement. Memes can be just about anything, but they're usually passed around a lot and shared. And that's why a lot of businesses use them. They co-opt them. They ride on the coattails of these memes as their posts get spread around. So you can do that. Be careful though. The one thing I do have a problem with Instagram, and one thing that's going to make it hard for you from a business standpoint, is that they do not allow links in the post. In other words, when you post a picture on Instagram, you could write in your caption all you want, the text you want to say, but you can't put a URL, you can't put your website, you can't put a clickable link in there. Now, the way you get around it is you put a link in your bio for Instagram. You can put a clickable link there. And then what you can do, and I've seen a lot of dressmakers do this, is, they're selling their wares on Instagram, basically showing them off. And down in the caption of each picture, they say, see our link in our bio. So all people have to do is click on it, go there, boom, they're on your website. So you just reference, if you're selling something, make sure you reference that they can go to a link in your bio to get to your site, your website, or wherever you want to send them. Twitter. I'll be honest, Twitter's terrible for business. I mean, I could go round and round and just start telling you, here's the pros, here's the negatives. But seriously, I just have not seen very many purposeful campaigns on Twitter that did well. I just don't. I mean, I've made a little money on Twitter, but it was accidental. I texted, and I mentioned this last week, I believe, I was at a very famous restaurant in LA, and I tweeted that I liked it, and I tweeted it to the owner of the restaurant, and the owner retweeted it, and I got a lot of promo out of that. I didn't expect that, and so it was kind of accidental. So keep in mind, Twitter is like texting for the internet. It's like you can put small messages out there up to 280 characters or letters of the alphabet, including spaces. One of the things I like about Twitter is it forces people to get to the point. And so you can read a tweet very easy. They don't have a lot of room for, going on and on and on and on and being too verbose. They get to the point, and that's why a lot of people read Twitter. But from a business standpoint, I'm not a fan. You can do hashtags in it, and of course, that's where hashtags came from, was Twitter. And so you still see a huge amount of people using those. There is a 280 character max, which is a limiter on what you can post. And like I said, in my opinion, it's terrible for advertising. Keep in mind that Twitter does have an advertising platform, but no one is signing up for it because it's just not working. People don't click on it. They skip past them. And so Twitter is still trying to find itself. And in fact, you may not realize this, they're looking for a buyer. They really are. They're probably holding out for, one of the big players like Google or Apple or someone, Microsoft. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is primarily for credentialing. LinkedIn is kind of where you put your resume. LinkedIn is where people go to see your expertise. And that's really what LinkedIn is about, showing off your expertise. If you have the kind of job, what we call an information worker job, a blue collar job, like an accountant, a lawyer, a banker, a marketing person, something like that, where what you do is totally based on this and you're behind at a desk, that's where LinkedIn is going to come into place. It's a white collar. I said blue collar, I think. It's white collar. And so more, like I said, people who have a service or they sell something that is non-substantial, like accounting, it is substantial. I mean, something you don't hold in your hand. So that is what it's for. I highly recommend that everyone go to LinkedIn and update everything about them there and keep it updated because people are Googling you there. And it's a great way. It's a great way for you to find information about other people, or especially whether they're competent enough to do what you want. So a lot of people use LinkedIn as kind of a check on somebody else. It's not so much for selling though. It really isn't. It's all about connections. The way the LinkedIn works is that when you connect with someone, then it gives you the ability to see the relationships moving forward. So for instance, one of the big employers here in Amarillo is Bell Helicopter. Let's say that I wanted a job at Bell Helicopter. Well, I don't know anyone at Bell Helicopter, and getting a job is who you know. So I go on LinkedIn and I do a search on Bell Helicopter, and I discover that a friend of mine who I'm connected with on LinkedIn, his uncle is the head of HR at Bell Helicopter. I wouldn't have known that except for LinkedIn. So then what do I do? Do I immediately reach out to my friend's uncle? No, that would be a mistake. I reach out to my friend and I say, hey, I see your uncle is the HR person out there. Is there any way I could get together with him or I could talk to him or you could put in a good word for me? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And so you use it for the connections. Okay. So I tend to tell people that LinkedIn is primarily for getting jobs. It really is. If you're looking for a job, LinkedIn is the way to go. But for selling your products, not so much. Unless you're a recruiter. This is a recruiter's primary place to advertise. People who are headhunters or recruiters, they will use LinkedIn like it's the end all be all tool. And in fact, I think LinkedIn even realizes that. And so a lot of its products are targeted towards recruiters. Pinterest. I'll be honest with you. I mean, when you look at the marketing on Pinterest, it's over 30 females. It really is. We don't have a lot of young people on Pinterest. We really don't. They're all on Instagram. So the over 30 group, and typically women, are on Pinterest. Pinterest is like a bulletin board, and you can post boards, and people can share boards, and people can see your bulletin board, so to speak. The three big areas that businesses that do well on Pinterest are recipes, crafts, and fashion. If there's anything that you do tied to one of those three things, you'll probably do well on Pinterest. I also see architecture do well because you can show it off. Basically anything you can show off, art, anything. But if you go on Pinterest, you will discover that the largest amount is probably food and crafts and fashion. Those really are the big areas. So if you do one of those things, I would highly consider Pinterest. Basically, what you do is you create pins and you follow boards. You follow other people's boards. That way, when they update it, you see the update. And so you find things you're interested in and follow them. It makes it quite easy. The advantage of Pinterest over Instagram, however, is that Pinterest allows links. Pinterest allows you to put links in the captions of the photos. And you can put a lot more text on there too. So think of Pinterest as like Instagram with a lot more options. But remember the target demographic. Remember, younger people on Instagram, older people, not old people, older people are on Pinterest, and it is primarily female. You just don't see a lot of guys on Pinterest. So if what you're targeting is gender related, then hopefully if you're focusing on women, then Pinterest might be the place to go, especially if they're over 30. Now let's get to the big one, the big elephant in the room, Facebook. Right now they have 2.8 billion users. That's the latest stat. And they are growing. They're continuing to grow. Facebook is the most popular social media on planet Earth. And if you're a business, you need to be using Facebook if you're not already for advertising. You need to be using, and I mean paid advertising too, because, and we'll talk about this later, in Facebook, you can drill down to some of the most amazing demographic data. And you can say, I want this post to only go to men who are 38 years old and have a college degree and live in Texas. You can do that and it will work because, and you're saying, well, how does Facebook know that? Because you told it. Facebook knows all that. You won't get to see their names or who they are, but your ad will go to them. And so if you need to narrow things down, even by how much you make, you can narrow it down that way. So if you're not on Facebook for business, I highly recommend you get there because that's where everyone is. It's primarily adults. So if you target kids, though, if you target pretty much anyone under 30, I used to say 20, now it's 30. If you target anyone under 30, I would not be on Facebook for that. I would be focused on Instagram or TikTok. Pages versus accounts. Remember, on Facebook, if you have a business, it must be on a business page. It must be on a page, must be on a page, must be on a page. Do not use your personal account. We already talked about this. Do not use your personal account for your business. If Facebook catches you doing that, you're done. You're toast. You're finito. Bye-bye. Okay? So don't break that rule. I've seen too many people lose their personal Facebook accounts. Well, because they were using it as a business and not as their personal account. By the way, if you have any questions at any time, you can either raise your hand in the Zoom app and we'll see it, or you can go to chat and ask it there. Ask anytime. Do not wait for the end of this, okay? You ask anytime while it's fresh in your head. You're not interrupting me at all. On Facebook, I also recommend that you promote your posts. And what I mean by that, that's when you're paying. In other words, if you have a post that's doing well organically, naturally, without you paying, that's when I would pay for it because you stumbled upon a good one. And so I would definitely promote that. TikTok. It's got 689 million users. It's primarily video and it's short videos. And I'm telling you, it's very popular and getting more popular. It's primarily young people. I'll be honest with you. It's primarily young people. It's so new. And I've already told you how societal migration works. Young people go first, and then eventually they're joined by their parents, which of course then causes the young people to seek out something new. As with Instagram, you can only put your links, actual clickable links in the bio or by getting an ad on TikTok. There hasn't been enough data for me yet to see if TikTok is worthy of paid ads. I'm still waiting to watch for that. I'm still waiting to see that, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. If you're targeting kids, if you're targeting teens, or even just young adults, then I would probably use TikTok. Okay, here we go. This is the most important slide in this entire deck. This slide is the most important slide. If you only pay attention to one slide in this entire presentation and want to sleep through all the rest, then wake up and focus on this because this is the money maker. This is the slide that explains it all. What you need to be doing with social media is realizing that you're probably using the wrong kind of post. You're probably posting wrong. Think about it this way. When we post for our personal account, what do we say? Oh, I went and saw Godzilla versus Kong. Great movie. What did y'all think? And that's it. That's a personal post. So we see that and we think that's what we do for a business post. So we go to our business page and we say, like let's say you're a realtor. Hey, home rates coming down, exclamation point. And then you wonder why no one reacts. Okay. And that's because you are using Facebook as kind of just a one-way way to shout, as a one-way bullhorn, like I was saying earlier. Remember what the goal is, interaction. Remember what the goal is. The goal is what? The goal is comments. You want to know whether you're doing social media right? You count the comments. I don't care about likes. I don't care about shares as much, although shares helps you, okay? But the goal is comments. The goal is comments. The goal is comments. Because basically someone stopped, focused on what you said, and actually reacted to it, responded to it. And what does that do? It gives them amazing retention for your brand. Remember, what did I say in the very, very beginning on the first slide? Retention requires rebranding.
Eric, what about
Yes.
bad comments, not so nice comments?
Oh, I have a whole class on that. How to deal with negative reviews and bad comments. I don't have time in this talk to talk about it, but the answer is not to delete them. I'll be honest. The answer is definitely not to delete them. So yeah, I really don't have time to give you the proper way to deal with that, but I think we'll have that coming up at some point. But yeah, bad comments, you're going to get those occasionally, but you can't let that scare you. And you got to realize that sometimes it's just your competitors. Okay. But there is a way to do it. And the key, well, let me just give you the short version. You want to get it out of the public square as quickly as possible. And so you got to figure out whether they are a troll or whether they are a legitimate customer with a concern. The way to figure that out is to very simply say something like this. I'm so sorry you had this experience with our company. Please call me at this number and let's see what we can do. So you post that on their bad, negative, whatever. If they call you, great, it's fixed. If they don't and they keep trolling you on social media, block them, delete them, whatever you want. They're just trolling you. So what you never want to do is shut down a legitimate customer who's just simply angry. A legitimate customer wants closure. They want it to come. They want some sort of result. So if you offer that to them, they'll take it in a heartbeat. So that's the short version. There's so much more that goes into that, and how you say that, and what you do, and how you don't. I'm just saying, there's a lot more to it. So I'll say that, but that's the short version. The perfect social media post. Too many people think that all it is saying, blasting something out into the nothingness, if you will. But it actually has a bunch of pieces. A good social media post has certain ingredients. And I promise, if you pay attention to these ingredients and put these ingredients in every social media post you do from now on, you will see those comments. And if you see those comments, you'll see the interaction. And if you see the interaction, you're seeing retention and rebranding, and you will see a business result. So step one, every social media post you do must have a photo. You don't get to do a text-only post anymore, like on Facebook. I know some of you. It has to have a photo, has to have a photo, has to have a photo. And that's because the majority of people are looking at stuff on their phone. And the only thing that makes them stop is what? An eye-catching photo. Something that makes them go, huh. And in fact, that's the only purpose of a photo, is to make them stop scrolling. Did you know that? The only purpose of you putting a photo on that post is to cause the reader to stop scrolling and focus on what you're saying. If all you have is text, they're never going to see it. People stop on photos, and that's about it. Second, the second ingredient, a call to attention. The call to attention is what the post is about. Okay, or the call to attention is, it's kind of like what the post is about. The problem is, so many of y'all, that's all you do. That's all you do is that call to attention. And you say, hey, we're having a sale today, and that's it. The third most important ingredient is more important than that, and it's the call to action. So based on the call to attention, we're having a big sale today, or, we added a new item to the menu. That's a call to attention, what you're talking about. The call to action means, based on what I just told you, what do I want you to do? What do I want you to do? Do I want you to click here and go to our website and look at whatever it is we're talking about? Do I want you to pick up the phone and call us and make a reservation at our restaurant? Do I want you to print this post out and bring it in as a coupon? What do I want you to do? Every social media post you do must have a call to action. It can't simply be informational. Oh, I hate that word so much. When I ask people, what do you think the purpose of social media for business is? And they go, well, it's informational. It's kind of like when people say that's what a website's purpose is, informational. That is a loser website. A website that is informational, no one will ever go to unless you're an encyclopedia and you're the only one that has all the answers. Okay. No one goes for information. They go because they have a reason. They go because they need something. They want something. Okay. They either have a question they need answered, they have a problem they need fixed, something. It's not informational. So, call to attention, call to action. What are you going to do? But the most important thing of all is this one, call to interaction. You see, remember what I told you. The goal of all of this is to get what? Comments. But people will not comment just out of the blue. You have to ask them to comment. Not by saying, please comment. You ask a question, not a yes or no question, an open-ended question. Every one of your social media posts for your business needs to end in a question. It's the last thing that should be on there. Not a yes or no, because then people will just answer yes or no. We want them talking about this. And of course, you must link this to your product or service. Remember that. We're not just randomly talking about stuff that has nothing to do with business. We want this to benefit us financially. So you need that call to interaction, the call to comment, if you will. So look what we got. You got to have a photo, but it's got to be an eye-catching photo, a good photo, a photo that makes me go, whoa, wait, what? Don't make it inappropriate, but make it something that makes people stop. Don't make it like some stupid, boring thing of two people just shaking hands. Make it interesting. Make me stop scrolling. That's what you need to ask yourself when you look at a photo. Will this make me stop scrolling? Unless the answer is yes, you don't use it. Call to attention. This is what your post is about. This is the whole reason you're posting. Like I said, the problem is some of y'all, that's all you're doing. Call to action. That is where we tell them what to do. Based on what I just told you, here's what I want you to do. And then finally, the call to interaction. This is where we ask for comments. Now, some of y'all are out there probably saying, Eric, do you have any examples? Is there any way you can kind of show us examples? Well, yes. Let's take a look at some. Here's my first one. Now, imagine, if you will, a picture of a beautiful steak. I don't have room. I wanted y'all to be able to read this, so I didn't put a picture on there. But imagine I put a picture of a beautiful, delicious, juicy steak. And underneath it, I have this. This is what this post follows my ingredients. Listen, we've added steak to the menu. This week only, get 20% off your entire ticket when you mention you saw this post on Facebook. Speaking of steak, how do you like yours? Now, let's take that apart piece by piece. Think back. What are the items? The photo, call to attention, call to action, and call to interaction. So what is this red piece? That is the call to attention. Remember, we've already have the photo of the steak. So that is what the post is about. That is the whole reason we're doing this. That is why we're making this post the call to attention. We've added steak to the menu. This piece in red is the call to action. This is where we're telling them what to do. Based on what we just told them, this is where we tell them what to do. This week only, get 20% off your entire ticket when you mention you saw this post on Facebook. Finally, and I think y'all can figure this out, this last piece is what? The call to interaction. This is the question that gets them commenting. Okay. And remember, it can't be a yes or no question. It's got to be an open-ended question. Let's look at another example. I won't pick it apart this time, but I want you to look at it. I just listed an incredible 3-bedroom home near a beautiful park. This is for a realtor. Perfect for parents. Click the link to see the fabulous interior shots. When you were a kid, what was your favorite park memory? See? So the picture would be of a house, a beautiful house, or maybe an interior shot. In other words, if you're a realtor, the prettiest shot of that house, whether inside or outside. And then I just listed an incredible 3-bedroom home near a beautiful park. Perfect for parents. That is what? That is the call to attention. Click the link to see the fabulous interior shots. Maybe this goes to MLS or wherever. That's a call to action. And then finally, you can probably see it, the question. When you were a kid, what was your favorite park memory? Now, some of you out there may be in the tourist industry, maybe of cabin rentals. So this one is for you. Imagine I have a picture of 2 deer or a picture of a deer herd or something like that. Wow, a huge buckiness herd visited us this afternoon or this morning. We never get used to it. Although I posted one shot here, check out the others on our website, especially the fawn. What's the coolest creature you've seen on vacation? I think without me doing it, each one of you can pick that apart. There are a number of things to remember when you do this, okay? And to that end, I'm going to be doing something a little different right here. I'm going to be giving you homework. You know what the essential ingredients of a social media post are. I gave them to you. Before the end of the day, and hopefully before within another hour or so, I want you to come up with a post that uses those ingredients. I want you to find a photo. I want you to come up with what the post is. I want a call to action. And I want you to have a call to interaction. Now, obviously, I'm not going to see these, but I want you to at least write one. And you can write it on paper. You don't have to sit there on Facebook and do it. And in fact, you really never even have to post it. But I want you to get comfortable with what this new procedure is. If you follow these ingredients, I promise, I promise, I promise your social media for your business will go through the roof. Because what is it? It's all about psychology. All about psychology. And everyone wants to give you their opinion. So when you post something and then ask for that opinion, people are happy to reply. So your job is to come up with a post interesting enough to make them want to. Your job is to come up with a question that they want to answer, a topic they want to know more about.
Eric, let me ask you, would you do the same thing across all social media, not just Facebook? Would you do it on Instagram and then maybe do it on Pinterest and
Yep, I would follow that same. Now, not all will allow you to do that as easily, but yes, those same ingredients can be used on all social media. They really can, and I would use it. And like I said, it sounds simple, and it is. People overthink social media for business. They really do. They think there's some secret code, secret something that only the techie guys know, and that they can't be successful. Not at all. You can be successful. You can be very successful without being a techie person on social media. The key really is not to know tech. The key is to know your customer. And when I say know your customer, I mean inside their head. You know, we've talked about this before. No one wants your product or service. They want the value associated with it. So stop thinking about, how am I going to talk about my product? Start thinking about what topic is rolling around in the head of my clients or my potential customers that would cause them to come to me for the solution. What problem do they have that I solve? Guess what you're going to do? You're going to talk about the problem. I'm telling you. You got to remember, stop pushing your products and services on social media. That's not the goal. That's not the goal. Show your expertise. Guide them back to your own website where your products and services are. But do not use social media for that. if you really want to grow a following, if you really want people to see you as an expert, and what I've always said, people would rather do business with an expert than a salesman. I'm telling you, your goal is comments. Your goal is comments. And you'll know a post that does well when you get a lot of comments on it. And by the way, when you see a post that does well and you're going, wow, that did better than I thought, that's the post that you boost. That's the post that you promote. That's the post because it's already working organically. You might as well throw some money at it and really make it go crazy. Now, remember, if you're a local company and you want to throw money at a post, we don't want to advertise to the whole United States unless that is your audience. If you're local and you just want them to walk through the doors of your local retail store, then make sure in Google that you limit it to like a zip code, 50 miles within a zip code, and you got it. So I'm telling you, it works on every social media. That was the long answer.
That was a good one. And, I've asked you before because they always try to throw something at you, like a certain industry. I think I threw PVC pipe one time at you, but what you're telling us is that this what I know, and I had stuff like all kinds of things like wire fencing and stuff going through my head, but it's interesting that you're saying this works across all platforms, all industries.
It is. It's not magical. It's psychology. It really is. It works across everything, And so the key is think about what you do and then think about what causes people to need what you do. Okay. Wire fencing, why do people need wire fencing? Because they either want to keep something in or something out. What are the problems people have with wire fencing? Well, it breaks, it snaps, over here in Texas, cattle knock them down, I mean, what is it? What is the problem? And then you've got your post because your post talks about the problem. Your post might even talk about a solution that they can do themselves. It doesn't even require you to help them with. But the point is, you're reaching out to your audience, the people who would buy from you. And when they start seeing you give advice as an expert, they start to see you as an expert. And when they suddenly need the product or service that you sell, they will go to the expert at the top of their mind. Interaction is the goal. And like we've been saying, be an expert, not a salesperson. Stop trying to sell your stuff on social media. Sell yourself. Sell your expertise. Be the pro that they're looking for. Okay, this is the time for questions. I left it open a little bit for questions because I knew there should be some on this because that ingredient list usually generates a lot of questions. So.
Well, and I want to tell everyone while they're thinking about questions, I want to tell them about our upcoming trainings. On Monday at noon, we have essential considerations when buying a business. We have Eric back with us on Tuesday for top 10 online scams that every small business must avoid, which I think is going to be really a hot topic. We also, on Tuesday, we have all kinds of events coming up next week. We have breaking down the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. We're going to have 6 breakout sessions with that in the morning, April 6th from 9 to 12. Then we're going to have cybersecurity, 2-part series. Foundational concepts is going to be after Eric on Tuesday. Part 2 will be Friday at 8:30. We also have basic steps to starting a business in New Mexico on Wednesday and precautions to avoid litigation. So, we're going to have a busy week on that. I think one of the big questions, and I'm glad you told me why my kids all moved to Instagram. I get it. But Instagram is combining with Facebook in the business suite. Is it okay to just use the same post for both of them?
To a degree, but remember, if you put a link in your post in Facebook, it won't work in Instagram. Okay. There's that one thing, but yes, I'm okay with going across them because you're right. Facebook does own Instagram. Now, Facebook doesn't know as much about its Instagrammers as it knows about its Facebookers. Okay, because Instagram isn't constantly asking questions. Asking questions like, where'd you go to school? When did you graduate? Stuff like that. Instagram doesn't care. So you're not going to be able to break it down from a paid standpoint like that. Sorry, I got the hiccups. So yeah, you can use it. You can use it, but keep in mind the whole reason Facebook bought Instagram was because they saw a lot of their young users leaving Facebook and going to Instagram. So kids will always want to be separate from their parents, and they will always want a safe space so that they can talk the way they want to talk to their friends without being monitored. So you're going to constantly see this. So like I
And
said,
I,
it's controversial what I say, but I don't believe parents and kids should be Facebook friends. I really don't.
I get that now. You know, when Facebook first came out, you wanted to make sure your friends were your kids were friends with you. And I know my kids have moved over to Snapchat, and I do not have Snapchat, which I don't know anything about Snapchat really. I don't know if it's even something that you advertise on, and I'm sure everyone on here,
No, no.
okay.
Snapchat, I didn't even include it. Snapchat is kind of where some of the Instagrammers are going because their parents stalked them onto Instagram, though. I will tell you that. TikTok and Snapchat seem to be where some of the Instagram kids are moving next. So I don't think they're going to leave Instagram altogether. I think you're going to see more adults on Instagram and it will become kind of a Facebooky thing. But right now it's still kind of young.
Okay, this
Any
is
other
going to
questions? Any other questions on social media at all? Anything at all on social media?
This is going to be our last call for questions. If we do not have any questions today, I did get a question about the upcoming schedules. Yes, we send a follow-up email. It will have a list of the upcoming webinars on it. That way you can see everything that is going on in next week and in the coming weeks. So with that, Eric, I think we are done for today. And I
Okay.
guess we will see everyone next time. So you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon. Bye.